Good afternoon, professors. I am Midhavi Mishra, and today I am going to present my master's thesis. The title of the thesis is Enhanced Traffic State Estimation Using Deep Learning and Simulation Models Based on Crowdsourced Data Availability. As we know, transportation in smart cities is assisted by fusion of sensor data and crowdsourced information. This synergy powers advanced traffic management systems and facilitates V2X communication. The smart traffic management includes signal management, smart parking, emergency services, etc. For smart traffic management, traffic state estimation plays a crucial role in enabling optimal intersection timing, efficient congestion control, and reliable traffic simulations. So, traffic state estimation refers to the process of inferring the current or future traffic conditions within a road network based on available data from various sources. The parameters estimated are average speed, travel time, congestion level, traffic flow, and density. The various traffic data from different sensing techniques are harnessed, and as we can see, the inductive loops and cameras are used for uh, estimating vehicle count, presence, speed estimation, etc. These traffic sensing techniques can be divided into two categories. First is Eulerian traffic sensing, which uses stationary sensors positioned at fixed locations within a traffic network to monitor and collect data. For example, loop detectors, cameras, etc. A- Another is Lagrangian traffic sensing, which focuses on monitoring individual vehicle movements as they traverse the network. For example, RFID transponders, GPS devices, etc. Now, these conventional sensing techniques are also have limitations. For example, cameras are associated with privacy concerns and foggy vision issues. Loop detectors incur high installation cost, and floating car data are limited by number of representative cars deployed. So both these sensing types are point or vehicle specific, but not informative of comprehensive aerial traffic insights. The newly emerging data sources, called as crowdsourced data, are mostly indicator of aerial or stretched traffic conditions, and they refer to the information collected from a large number of individual users or devices. In comparison to sensor data, which are infrastructure-based systems and are resource-intensive, crowdsourced data are economical to retrieve with broader coverage and timely updates. They may not be robust as data points may be sparse at some places at a given time, so they have low acceptability in traffic community compared to widely reliable and accepted sensor data. So crowdsourced data are of two types: active crowdsourcing, which involves participants actively contributing to a defined task, and passive crowdsourcing, which collects data or information from participants' existing actions and behaviors. As you can see in Google Maps, ETA information, which is quantitative data, and color tracks of average speed ranges, which is qualitative data, are examples of passive crowdsourcing. So crowdsourced data also have limitations because it often contains noise leading to higher error rates. As you can see, a guy wheeled around 99 phones in a car to create traffic jams on Google Maps, creating discrepant and fictitious data. Also, there are issue of missing data and limited metrics. Uh, Also, the anonymity restrictions and bias in coverage. Nevertheless, there have been increasing use of crowdsourced data in smart mobility solutions. For example, in Google projects for monitoring air quality, social sensing for learning mobility patterns, and also there have been a rapidly increasing market for network traffic analysis. So here is a list of data types like road network graph, node features, etc., which have been collected from the third-party sources like OpenStreetMap, Google Distance Metrics API, etc. Here, as you can see, the road network graph representation is obtained from using OpenStreetMap by identifying a central location and finding out a bounding box, which is at a distance of 150 meter from the central location. So we initially applied a deep learning model and then transitioned to a simulation-based analysis to enhance the accuracy and depth of the study. So for retrieving crowdsourced data, we need information like origin and destination coordinates, travel mode, departure time, user's API key, which is fed into platforms like Google Distance Metrics API for obtaining output like distance, duration, travel time, etc. So this is the basic architecture of our DL regression model for average speed prediction. In this model, road network graph along with road features at edge connectivity attributes are fed into residual variational graph and autoencoder to obtain graph embeddings Z. Other inputs are street images, which are processed through DenseNet backbone to obtain spatial features. Along with that, points of interest in the area, for example, schools and parks, which can affect the traffic, are also processed. All these uh, uh, all these features like graph embeddings, street image features, and points of interest features are concatenated and fed into an MLP layer for average speed prediction. The model is trained based on mean squared error loss, and the ground truth of average speed is obtained from a third-party platform called TomTom. So the graph embedding Z is an input to the DL regression model, which is obtained using unsupervised graph representation learning via residual variational graph and autoencoder. This particular autoencoder consists of two parts, encoder and decoder. In encoder, the input is road network graphs, which contains the information in terms of node features matrix, adjacency matrix, and weight matrix. These inputs are fed into GCN units, which consist of GraphCon, GraphNorm, and ReLU units. The decoder is a inner product decoder. This model is trained based on reconstruction loss and KL divergence loss minimization. So the VJEs are trained by maximizing the evidence lower bound, which consists of two complementary laws. First is reconstruction loss, which evaluates how accurately the model can rebuild the original graph. And another is scale divergence loss, which regularizes the latent space, ensuring smooth and meaningful representations. So in the unsupervised graph representation learning task, which consists of our road network uh, graphs for New York City as input, we obtained the result as ROC AUC value of 72.73% and average precision of 64.74%. This result is compared to the other graph generation tasks on standard data sets, which consist of other application domains. So coming to the results of DL regression model on test data set, our model obtained the mean absolute percentage error value of 18.2% and can explain up to 74% of variation in the average speed for a given period of day on the urban road network based on spatial features. The various spatiotemporal DL models studied in the literature report an average R squared test score of 0.73 for long-term forecasting horizon. So when comparing our DL regression model with the various spatiotemporal models for long-term speed prediction, we observe that the MAPE value is slightly higher, that is 18.2% compared to other spatiotemporal models in the literature. However, on comparing on the basis of input data type, we observe that the STDL models during training require network topology, a citywide road network having thousands of nodes as road intersections. And for inference, they are restricted to this particular network for inferring speed. In contrast, for our DL regression model, during training, we require graph networks of 300 meter by 300 meter for network topology around a given intersection in the city. Along with that, we require street view images, points of interest data. For inference also, we require these three data points even for any new intersection, which is not possible in STDL models. Coming to the temporal data, for training, the STDL models require around 52,128 speed data points for each spatial location in the citywide network. For inference, they require 6 temporal data points. In contrast, for training in our model, only one speed data point is required for each spatial location, and for inference, no historical data point is required because our model is based on spatial features only. So the potential applications based on our DL regression model speed prediction is it can be used for determining level of service, zoning and zoning regulations, average speed estimation for a proposed intersection, studying the need of ramp metering, road widening, modifying lane uses, and scope for introducing new infrastructure or commercial centers in the region. So there are challenges associated with traffic data that hamper the deep learning results. As you can see in this particular paper published in IEEE Transactions on ITS, it states that deep learning models can emulate traffic dynamics but need large and location-specific datasets for training. The experiments in this paper reveal that the deep learning models could not be the best modeling technique for every case. Particularly, lack of historical data makes deep learning approaches for traffic estimation challenging. So for harnessing crowdsourced data for enhanced insights, it can be complemented with sensor data for modeling traffic simulations. Effectively calibrated traffic simulation, inherently handling vehicle dynamics, can offer in-depth insights into the traffic states. So why simulation is required? Because it can capture complex vehicle interactions and flow patterns that sensors or crowdsourced data alone cannot fully represent. It also offers enhanced metrics like queue length, density, and delay. Along with that, it offers predictive insights, scalability, while functioning as a decision-making tool for street-level analysis. So calibration of simulation models refers to the process of adjusting and fine-tuning the parameters to accurately represent the real-world system. The goal of calibration is to minimize the discrepancy between models' outputs and the observed or measured data from the real system. Here are the related works of the for calibrating the simulation models. The different softwares used in the literature are Vissim, Sumo, Corsim, etc. And the calibration parameters are specific to these softwares. So based on literature review, significant cross-car following model parameters in Sumo are identified, which are min gap, which represents minimum distance that a vehicle maintains from the leading vehicle, sigma, which accounts for imperfections in driver behavior, and decel, which represents vehicle's capability to slow down and is used to control the braking behavior during simulations. So this slide represents the graphic representation of the flow of crowdsourced data processing. First, data is collected from different third-party sources like Google Maps, Bing Maps, etc. These data are then processed for traffic modeling and simulators are used, for example, Sumo simulation. Such simulation gives us insights into traffic volume, congestion patterns, average speed, origin destination patterns, etc. Thus, they aid urban planners and transport engineers in decision making and improving city infrastructure, providing smart mobility solutions. So for integrating crowdsourced data and sensor data, first we need to understand the two kinds of speed measurements. First is time mean speed, which measures the arithmetic average of speeds of vehicles measured at a specific point on road over a period of time. So induction loops can measure such a speed, and in Sumo, it can be derived by using event detectors. Another is space mean speed, which measures the average speed of all vehicles over a certain length of road during a set time period. Such a speed can be derived by using crowdsourced ETA, and similar speeds can be retrieved from Sumo using E2 detectors. So we used two case studies which are from real world traffic scenarios from a congested city center in New York. Our case study 1 involves a simple network with available sensor data on one link only. In this network, there is one route consisting of three links. The case study 2 is a more complex network of arterials without any sensor data. And in this network, there are total 35 links and 15 priority routes. So here is the map view and simulation view of both case studies. For calibration of simulation model, nested genetic algorithm is adopted. It first generates vehicle counts in stage 1 and then employs them in stage 2 to match observed and simulated average speed values by calibrating the car polling model parameters. Speed deviation adaptive gene mutator calculates the number of vehicles to be inserted in the simulation network using typical traffic. Then, route selection algorithm creates near real-world traffic congestion patterns using typical traffic layer in Google Maps. As you can see in the diagram, each generation of stage 1 initiates stage 2, and after complete simulation run in stage 2, it sends the best fitness value to the stage 1 as a feedback. Here you can see the objective functions used in stage 1 and stage 2 of NGA. During the simulation run, the point mean absolute error for average speed is calculated for every 10 times steps along the links. After each full simulation run, the mean absolute percentage error for average travel time on priority routes is computed. Since the objective function or fitness values in nested genetic algorithm are usually maximized and we want our errors to be minimized, you can see in stage 1 objective function, we have kept MAPE for travel time in denominator. Similarly, in stage 2 objective function, we have kept PMAE for average speed in denominator. So for calculating the number of vehicles on the ingress and egress links, speed deviation adaptive gene mutator is developed. This is the logical overview of the mutator. The underlying logic is that if actual speed is less than observed speed, we need to increase the number of cars on respective links in the simulation. This will result decrease in traffic speed and vice versa. Another logic is number of vehicles entering remains equal to the vehicles exiting the network. In this way, the count of vehicles on ingress and egress links in each generation of stage 1 NGA is obtained. Now we need to allocate routes for the number of vehicles generated in the SDAG by the SDAG mutator. This is done with the help of route selection algorithm. In this particular algorithm, routes are prioritized based on counts of links associated with dark red, orange, green color codes in the typical traffic layer of Google Maps. The selected priority routes contains at least one dark red and red links or at least two orange links. So the vehicles are first allocated on the priority routes, and then the remaining vehicles are allocated to other routes. In this way, a route file is generated, which is consumed in the stage 2 of the simulation run. So these are the NGA hyperparameter settings, which is used for the simulation setup. So coming to the results, for case study 1, we have designed two experiments. In the first one, we used only crowdsourced data. And in second experiment, we fused the crowdsourced ETA data and the sensor data. The sensor data was available for the egress link of case study 1 network. So in validation, we obtained the PMAE of 3.25 meter per second in average speed and MAPE for travel time of 1.9% when we used only crowdsourced data in experiment 1. In experiment 2, we obtained PMAE of 1.59 meter per second in average speed, and MAPE for travel time improved to 0.29% with data fusion. These values are well within the US Federal Highway Administration criteria compliance for models, which is 15%. Hence, the available sensor data and crowdsourced data were fused to calibrate the simulation model of its case study 1 network. And the optimal values for model parameters obtained are min gap 1.91 meters, sigma of 0.65, decel of 3.06 meter per second square. These model parameters helps in simulating the local driving behavior of the network. So coming to case study 2 results. Since case study 2 is a more complex network, we designed our experiment using the various combination of links. So during calibration, we observed that the lowest PMAE value for average speed was obtained as 0.63 when we used the combination of 5 major inner links. Further, for validating the optimal vehicle counts and optimal parameters of simulation, we use these values to run a full simulation run in the validation phase. So in validation, we using the optimal values of the calibration phase, we observed that again for the 5 links experiment optimal values, we obtained the lowest PMAE average speed on all ingress-egress links as 0.296 meter per second. Also, the validation MAP on priority routes for average travel time was obtained as 10.33%, which is well within the US Federal Highway Administration criteria compliance for models of 15%. So the optimal parameters for case study 2 networks obtained as min gap of 2.64 meter, sigma of 0.7, and decel of 4.72 meter per second. So here the graph shows a comparison of travel time from simulation with ETA from Google API on each of the priority routes in the network. The respective routes are highlighted in this figure, where the blue marker represents the origin and red marker represents the destination of the route. So calibrating with just 5 major inner links, the model estimated travel times for 15 priority routes in the urban network. These estimations achieved approximately 90% accuracy. Further, for the best 10 routes, MAPE for travel time was noted as 6.31%. Here is a comparative overview of various studies for traffic simulation model calibration. The highlight of our study is we used crowdsourced data instead of field survey, loop detectors, recorded video feeds, which is quite common in the literature. Another highlight is we have used a more complex case study containing the urban arterial network comprising of 35 links instead of freeways and highways, which have been used in the previous studies. So a well-calibrated simulation model can be used for determining optimal intersection timing, adaptive traffic light control, inferring missing analytics like vehicle density, etc., infrastructure deployment for smooth mobility, and identifying pollution hotspots and traffic choke points in urban arterial networks. In conclusion, with limited data, our model predicts average speed with 82% accuracy by using street images, points of interest, and network graph embeddings. The DL model can quickly infer, providing crude average speed estimates useful for high-level traffic management tasks. In contrast, simulation models focus on a specific road network at a time and can be effectively calibrated to replicate near real-world traffic conditions, making them ideal for detailed street-level analysis of urban arterial networks. A well-calibrated simulation model for complex road network achieved 90% accuracy in predicting travel time, despite having limited speed data available for a few links only. Once calibrated, other traffic metrics can be derived, providing deeper insights into the traffic states. This study also demonstrates that integrating crowdsourced data and sensor data into simulations can significantly enhance calibration. Such integration reduced the MAPE for ETA predictions to as low as 0.29%. While DL models require a large amount of historical data, simulation models can be calibrated using available crowdsourced data, making them more adaptable in data-scarce environments. And these are the references used for my study. And this is the end of my presentation. Thank you.